Hey friend, welcome back to Chronic Health Solutions. I will let you know up front I'm a little bit under the weather, so if you can hear it in my voice, I apologize. I am just going to try my best to get through this episode. I want you to tell me if this sounds familiar. You finally get a burst of motivation. You start tackling things, the kitchen, the laundry, doing errands, responding to emails, all this stuff. You're feeling really, really good, feeling motivated. And then suddenly it's like, okay, maybe I can get everything done today. Maybe I can get everything together and knock off a bunch of stuff off of my to-do list. And then what happens the next day? You are absolutely just beyond wiped. You're irritable, you're cranky, you're exhausted. You feel like your body is shutting down. And you didn't run a marathon. You just tried to live your everyday life. I know how frustrating that can feel. And so today I want to talk about why getting things done can feel so draining with chronic illness. And then 3 strategies to help you to avoid the crash while you are still taking care of your home and your family. So let's get started. Welcome to Chronic Health Solutions. If you're more than just a tired mom, I'm talking trying to make it through the day without crashing by noon, you're not alone. I'm Ashley, a wife, mom, and certified health coach. I have been where you are, battling chronic health symptoms and chronic illness, things like brain fog, joint pain, and fatigue that made me wonder if I'd ever feel like myself again. After uncovering root causes like stress, poor sleep, and hormone imbalance, I found simple health routines to begin to feel better, one simple habit at a time. Keeping up with your kids is not impossible. Pop in your earbuds and take a break from the chaos. It's you time. I remember a time where I would wonder why it was like the simple days of hanging out at home and taking care of stuff at the house that would make me feel so drained and wiped out. It wasn't these big events or really stressful weeks. It was more just the random Tuesday whenever I decided that I was going to catch up on everything. I'd unload the dishwasher, I'd do all the laundry, take care of the floors, wipe down the counters, tidy up the living room, try to tackle some little odds and ends tasks that I wanted to get done. Just 10 to 20 little things that would add up, nothing huge. But then by the afternoon, I would notice that I was crashing and just really hitting that afternoon slump really, really hard. And I remember just feeling so frustrated by that because I was thinking, why can I not just keep up with my everyday life? What I understand now is that my nervous system was burning through all of its dopamine and then switching into survival mode because of the way I was approaching my to-do list. And really, once your brain hits that low dopamine and then high cortisol balance, your energy is gone and also your capacity is gone as well. And I find for me, my motivation goes. So that can be a time whenever you will start to notice that chronic symptoms flare up again. And I want to speak to the mom who is listening and thinking, I know I'm pushing myself too hard. I just don't know how not to push myself. If that's you, I just want to let you know that I do offer one-on-one chronic health coaching sessions where we are going to look at your real life, your kids, your symptoms, your routines, all of that, and then create a plan that is going to help you to begin to feel better without leaving you feeling like you have an endless to-do list of things to do. So it's not really, we don't focus on doing more. We focus on making small, minute shifts that are going to support your body and help you to live your everyday life and begin to feel better. So if that's something you are interested in, you can go and find more details at ashleybraden.com/coaching, or I will have the link down in the show notes below. Okay, now let's dig into why these little routine tasks seem to cause us to have symptom flare-ups or just drain our energy as moms who are suffering with chronic illness or chronic symptoms. Why does that happen to us? The first one, I kind of mentioned it, is that task switching is going to burn through your dopamine. And then you're just going to notice that your motivation and your energy levels are going to start to decrease. Research actually shows that every time your brain switches from task to task, let's say from laundry to then dishes, and then you respond to a text, and then you answer a kid's question or you help them with something, then you turn around and you wipe down the counter, you are using up dopamine. For a mom who is already chronically stressed, your baseline of dopamine can often be already low because you're having that chronic inflammation. Maybe you're having poor sleep or you're getting woken up frequently by your kids. It could be that you're having chronic stress or emotional stress, and then that's causing those high cortisol levels, emotional burnout. under eating, skipping meals, irregular eating, overeating, all of that can play a role in that as well. So while other people may be able to do all of this stuff and bounce back, you are burning through that dopamine much faster. And this is why doing these repetitive or stacked simple tasks over and over, the more you do it, it's like it gets harder to do. It gets harder to push yourself to do the next thing. Making decisions about it feels harder because your brain is just kind of tapping out. It's like, okay, I'm done. I don't have the resources that I need to handle this anymore. And so I'm just going to tap out for now. So think of dopamine as like the way, it's kind of like your get started, like get up and go fuel. So when your tank is low, every switch that you're making with each task is just pushing that. It's kind of like, okay, you're out of gas and you're trying to push your car up a hill, basically. The other thing is that, like we've talked about, the push and then the crash cycle, it really is part of that survival mode loop that we often find ourselves in. Your brain is trying to protect you. So whenever it is sensing that you are overwhelmed or you're behind, it gives you a burst of cortisol, which is, of course, that stress hormone, to power through to get the stuff done that you need to get done. It's like, okay, we just got to get this done. Hurry, hurry, hurry. We can do this. We can push to get what we need to done. But then that doesn't last very long, especially if you are already starting at that lower state or you're already chronically stressed and inflamed. So then once that cortisol wears off, your body is realizing the negative effects of that cycle you have. And it's kind of like it's slamming on the brakes if we're talking about that car analogy. And that's where you will notice things like brain fog, irritability, fatigue, just feeling exhausted, like you need to lie down and take a nap, not having motivation, or just feeling guilty because you feel like you can't accomplish what you should be able to. And I say should because this is not about laziness or a lack of willpower, which I think we often convince ourselves that it is. This is just your nervous system trying to keep you alive. It's saying, okay, we're at low reserves right now, so we need to conserve energy because we're in danger and we need to make sure everything is okay first. So often what happens is we push ourselves because we have to get stuff done. We've convinced ourselves we must do X, Y, and Z in order to be a good mom, a good wife, a good whatever, employee, whatever it is. Then we crash. Then we have shame about it. So then we push ourselves again. And it just becomes this constant, never-ending cycle. I would love to know if any of you guys relate to that, if you have experienced that. Okay, and then we have to look at your energy is directly tied to your emotional load as well. So as moms who are managing chronic illness or chronic symptoms, I speak to moms who have kids who are neurodivergent. So you are managing a lot on your plate. You're not just managing tasks, you're managing the emotional weight of everything, of everyone in your house, of the schedule, of whatever special circumstances your children have. You know, you're supporting your neurodivergent kids through transitions. You're helping them with that overstimulation or whatever it is they have going on. They might be on a special diet. You might be on a special diet. You have maybe therapies that you have to go to. You have different things that you need to, services that you need to help them with. All of these things. And then also what I find, and this is something that it was new to me, but I find it is very true in my life. As moms who have kids who are neurodivergent, a lot of times we can have anticipatory stress, which is like, okay, I know the situation is coming up. Is someone going to struggle? Is someone going to melt down today? Is this going to cause a trigger or whatever it is? And so it's like we're stressing over the thing that might happen, even though it hasn't happened yet. But it's because our body and our brain knows, past experience has told us that this is potentially a dangerous or unsafe situation because it's possible that our child is struggling right now and they are going through a time or a season of having a lot of meltdowns, or maybe they are really struggling to regulate their emotions. And so we are just anticipating the negative situation that we think might be coming. You know, and we've talked about hypervigilance a lot as well. This ties into that as well, where we are constantly we're constantly looking at our surroundings to see, is everyone okay? Do I need to handle X, Y, and Z? Does this child need this from me? And we're trying to predict what everyone in our home needs before they need it. And that just sounds very exhausting and very draining, right? Okay, so I know this all sounds really just kind of discouraging, depressing, all that. So now let's talk about what can we do about it. And I think it's really normal, especially when we're facing difficult circumstances, to feel discouraged. And I always tell myself, okay, I'll give myself some time to work through those feelings, to acknowledge them. But then the principle that I love to live by is, what can I do to make the situation better? Because I think there is always something that we can do to improve our circumstances. Even if it doesn't make it completely better, it can still give us some kind of progress. And so what is it that we can do? So let's talk about 3 different things that we can work on. Okay, the first one is, and I find this one to be very helpful, it is to do your task whenever you do have that burst of energy and you're thinking, okay, I really want to get a bunch of stuff done. When you go to do those things, do them in similar groups, basically. So not just jumping from thing to thing, not doing things in random order, but grouping like tasks together. Instead of bouncing from, let's say, doing the dishes, so then you go and you do the laundry, and then you answer an email, and then you go and you wipe down the kitchen counter, and then you respond to a text. Instead of jumping so much, instead focus on grouping all of your kitchen tasks together, then all of your laundry stuff, then all of your brain tasks, then all of your errands. That can really help to decrease the amount of dopamine that you're using up, because you're not jumping so drastically from task to task. It's more, in my opinion, it's easier on your brain when you are focusing on those like tasks. And I have noticed whenever I do this, that it really does make a big difference in the amount of stress that I feel, and also really in my capacity to get things done. The other thing you can do, and this is something I've talked about before, is the 15% rule. And as moms, we often overestimate the amount of energy that we have, or even if we know we're feeling low energy, we are really prone to push ourselves to go forward and do what we need to do anyway. So when you go to sit down and to plan your day, instead of just jamming it full as you possibly can to get in as much as you can, why don't you plan for 15% less than you think you can do? This is automatically going to create more space in your schedule, give you a little bit more margin, help to lower that cortisol that you're going to be feeling from like the stress of, oh my goodness, I have said I'm going to do all this stuff, but in the back of your mind, you know you really can't accomplish that much. So if we can give ourselves a little bit of breathing room, I think that can be very helpful. And if you find the 15% idea just to be a little bit abstract and you're wanting something more concrete, I do think even just focusing on 3 specific tasks that you need to get done that day, like these are my top 3 priority. If I get those things done, then I'm doing a great job and I've done what I need to do for the day. If I have time and capacity, I can do more, but I am going to focus on these 3 things. I think that can be very helpful too. The other thing we can do, and this is the last thing, is to focus on really taking time, like mini rest breaks, kind of micro pauses, so you're not pushing yourself into a crash. So don't keep pushing yourself until you hit a wall. Interrupt that before you are going to hit that crash. So maybe it's every 30 or 45 minutes, you're stopping for a minute, you're taking a few deep breaths, you're dropping your shoulders down away from your ears, you're relaxing your body, and just reminding yourself, hey, I am safe. This day is going great. I'm going to get done what I need to today, and everything is perfectly fine. Just that minor shift and that minor break can really help to regulate your nervous system. It's also helping you to remember that it's okay to take time for yourself, that you are not lazy, you're prioritizing your health, and that is perfectly fine. I just want to encourage you guys to remember, and this is something I have struggled with and still do struggle with sometimes, that your worth is not measured by how productive you are. Also, remember, whenever you have these episodes where you are struggling to get everything done, or you are pushing yourself and then crashing, just remember that your body is not failing you. You are not a failure as a wife or a mom or anything like that. Your body is just communicating to you that it needs more than what you are giving it. And I really want to encourage you guys, let's figure out ways that we can really end this push and then crash cycle. If you guys want some extra help with that, I would love to coach with you guys. Again, you can go and find all that information at ashleybraden.com/coaching. I would love to chat with you guys about that. Also, I hope everyone has a very, very wonderful Christmas and Christmas Eve, all that wonderful time with your family. I hope you guys enjoy the holidays, and I will see you back next time.
Hey friend, I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, would you take a minute to share it with another mom who's struggling with chronic symptoms? And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me to know this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to go tackle those snack requests, and remember that a short walk, even if the kids turn it into a race, still counts as self-care. Keep chasing those little wins. Even when it feels messy, you're making progress. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. I'm not a doctor, and this podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any condition. You're the expert on your body. Listen to it and reach out to a trusted provider for support.